Hey, hey.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Good, Sam. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to see you today,
I know.
everybody.
It's been a long time, right?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Everybody, welcome Chris Foley, one of my favorite people.
Thank you.
Definitely. So you are on episode 11 of our Inventor Spotlight, brought to you by the Inventor Smart Community and, of course, the National Inventor Club and our good friend, Brian Freed. Now, you've known Brian for quite some time, so you're a New Yorker as well, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. And how long have you and Brian been friends and working together?
Oh, boy. I'm going to probably say 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, 10 years. Because if my son corrects me right on this, well, the idea started when he was in 5th grade.
Okay.
And now he's 25.
He's 25?
He's 25. So it's the process of thinking about it. I'm going to say 2000, probably 2000, probably 10, at least 10 years.
10 years since you've started working on this particular product that we're going to get to, and you've started with Brian. So obviously you've watched this, Brian's hard work and watched this community grow. You're definitely a member of the Inventor Smart Community, and that's why you're here today with our episode 11. So I love your product. I'm aware of it. I know what it is, but I'm going to let you just talk about what it is, what's the name, how you started it, why you came up with it. I know you have a background in all this, so I'm going to let you have the stage.
Well, that's a lot to cover there, but I'll do my best.
Got it.
I just want to say this. I met Brian at the college, Farmingdale State College, and it just happened. I'm in the flower business for quite some time, and I guess like most inventions, you come up with because there's a need to fix a problem. And in my industry, we do a lot of wedding and events, and we make these large centerpieces. And when we were on site, we would always, when we make them at the design table, we would always be then taking them to the refrigerator. And then, of course, we never have enough space. So then we try to jerry rig or fix it, but we were always compromising the blossoms in the centerpiece. So I came up with this idea that if only the centerpiece could get raised. I started out with a piece of styrofoam, but then I used sticks. And I said, if I wanted to make something that wouldn't always break down, what would I do? So I just kind of started from scratch. My boys said to me, they were young, and I was all about following up and following through on what you say and what you do. So they said to me, Ma, what about that idea you had? How come you never did anything? And I said, you're right, because I don't really know what to do. So I said, let me Google Inventor. So Brian came up. Inventors Club came up, and he was giving a talk over at the college. On a winter night, I go there saying, what am I doing? I couldn't find a parking spot, let alone where it was going to be. And I'm like, this is crazy. I park, and I find out it was canceled because of the weather. So I met an attorney in the parking lot, a patent attorney. We exchanged numbers. He said to me, I'll let you know when the next one is, and he did. So when I went there, I was kind of relieved because it was all like-minded people, and this is how everything evolves. Yes. So they don't think I'm crazy, or they don't think I'm wasting my time. Right. They really are for it, asking questions, leaning in. And Brian was, as Brian is, very generous, kind, and he said, listen, we could talk further. So I said, okay. So that was it. Wow. So it was that set the presence. That was really it. The initial conversation with him set the tone and gave me the support that just to say, okay, I could do something here.
Here's what I love. I just want to jump in just part of this because I love those little mini steps that you're taking. Like the kids bring it up and then you go, and then you go to Google and you look up something and then it gets you to drive there. And then, it's like, it's canceled, but then you're in the parking lot and you meet this attorney, he's a patent attorney. All these little synchronicities that lead to one step, and ultimately, you did connect with Brian, and I love how you said just how Brian is from then till now, just really kind and a generous guy with his time and his knowledge.
So I'll tell you, this was a pivoting point, because when I said to him, listen, I really like to show it to you. So he said to me, all right, he's in Melville. I was in Farmingdale, not a big deal. We met at the Panera. So here I am. I opened up the van and I show it to him, and he's like, he didn't like say, like, what the heck is this? He said, he saw it. He saw the idea of it. And then he just paused and he said, Chris, this is a great idea. He goes, but you got to make it where people can't copy it. You got to think of something in a material. And I said, you're right. So when I went back to the store, I was designing other pieces, and I used a form that we used in the industry to make a saddle piece, a saddle arrangement. And I flipped it over and I saw what it was made of. And it was made of a high-density polyethylene, HD. And I Googled that, and I Googled the numbers. So everything was just, okay, let me check this out. So then I shared it with him, and he goes, yeah, that's like, you could do something like a blow molding. So that really pivoted, because I don't want to do more work. I don't want to cut styrofoam. I don't want to cut up insulation. I don't want to take, I want to make it simplified. So make it simple and that people can't copy. And that was the pivoting moment. And now it was just being resourceful about finding a company that does it.
Being resourceful. Yes.
Resourceful. You can't always share your ideas with everybody, right? You have to know your audience.
Good advice.
Don't think you're going to get cheerleaders because you had a great idea.
Good advice.
90% of people out there aren't you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
we were talking earlier, and in other episodes that we've done in the spotlight, that always comes up, because most of us are small, independent inventors, right? We don't work for these big organizations that are telling us go create things. So of course we have a lot of rejection, a lot of no's, a lot of advice. And you really have to believe in yourself and in your product. But what I love about this the most too is that this is an industry thing for you. So you're an insider of your own industry. There's a problem. You found a solution, right? So you have one with you, right? I would love to see it.
Yeah. So, the thing is, it's not only in the industry. I said to myself, if I could throw it away and never use it, what am I going to do? Do I go back to using boxes, but then they leak and I'm still breaking and I'm still damaging? And every flower in today's market is anywhere from $3 to $5. So if I could save from asking the driver to go cut up boxes every day, every week, that's going to save him doing a pain in the ass job that he really doesn't want to do.
Yep.
And saving time and energy, because I know I'm just doing it, but it's not really the best job on how to transport these flowers. So I said, if I can't get rid of it, then it really is something that I feel there's a need for it in my industry. And like most industries, they're stuck. We don't like to pivot. Florists do not like to spend money. They like stuck in their own ways. But if they really took a moment to measure, monitor, and optimize what they're doing and how they're doing it, they could see how they could save and be more efficient to what they do and how they do it. And they could teach it to their staff. That's the other thing too. So that's why I stuck to it.
Well, that's an interesting point that you're making when you're trying to do a breakthrough in an industry that maybe is set in their ways, or, well, this is how we've always done it. This is always worked this way. So when you're coming up with, modifications or new tools, I'm assuming in your industry, that's interesting that you say that. So it takes a trailblazer to push through all that too.
100%. It's kind of like I even did the math myself. Do you know there's 156 wedding days in a year?
Right.
That's wedding days. It's 52 weeks, but it's now weddings are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, I broke it down to what you would pay for it and how much time and energy it will save you. I mean, I have the stats, I have the statistics, and I just know that it's worked marvelously for me. And I just want to share that and bring that to my industry to say, let's wake up and step up to the way we do things and really, measure them. We don't measure. We're like, well, we'll just throw another flower in there. We'll just add it when we get there. But why would you want to do that, right?
Yeah. I wonder what the annual cost loss is for flowers that travel. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of things in place to prevent that, obviously. But you would know best.
There's probably two that are really prevalent on the market now. It's a flower transporter, but that is basically it's made out of the foam that you have on your couch pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And you put vases in it, just vases, right?
Right.
So, and that's pretty cumbersome. It's quite big. That stays in your vehicle.
Okay.
I would say 85% of the time.
Okay.
Then you have the peg system, which is almost like a Legos, but with pegs. So you have all these dowels that you have to use, but the problem with that stays in the vehicle.
Got it.
And you have to carry each vase, like if this was a vase, out to the truck, measure, and put the 4 pins around it. So that's a lot of time for me, right? But they're all systems. Some may work, some may work for some, may not for the other. But basically, they're for vases. Mine is really made for centerpieces, for wedding and event centerpieces. When you go to a wedding and you see that big grand piece,
Yes.
then you see some low tables,
Yes.
that's what this is made for. Those pieces could run anywhere from a low piece from $200 to $500 each.
Yes.
So when you're breaking flowers, that all adds up. The average wedding today is 15 centerpieces. When you have to book a venue, it's 15 tables, 150 people minimum. So sometimes you'll have 20 tables. So you might have 10 high pieces and maybe 10 low pieces. So to put it bluntly, so I have right here, I don't know if you guys could see it. This is a centerpiece. So it's made on the caddy where it could shift. So we're not breaking. So right from the design table, we put it on a caddy. It goes in the refrigerator. We lift it up. It's very lightweight. It weighs maybe 1.5 pounds. And then you put it in. So it could always be moved around and nothing will get compromised because it stays stationary. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So if I have a large centerpiece, let's say the big high ones, what I would do is I would double stack it for my highs because that piece comes over.
Okay.
This is custom designed to hold 11-inch dish, a 9-inch dish, and an 8-inch. It holds water. You could grab it. So when we water our centerpieces, because we have to water them, your wedding's on Saturday, we'll make them on Friday, or maybe green them up on a Thursday, but we always have to water them. So
right.
The excess water will fall down here and will go right into this reservoir, so you don't get a mess on the table.
Nice.
Another neat feature. And then you flip it over, and it could hold vases. So I wanted to really give the most value of this product so they could use it for many different uses. So I use it to carry some vases that I use to make bouquets for the brides, or just make bouquets for the restaurants, and I put them in here. So it has 2 uses out of it. And you know what the best part about this, Sam, is?
What?
When you're done, they stack. They stack. You could put 10 of them stacked together when you're done at the venue. So it's not taking up all that space. It's 15 by 15. That's it. and they carry them
Okay,
out.
I gotta jump in because I'm in the restaurant business, right? I'm a server in this beautiful restaurant, and we have fresh flowers every week on the tables. They're amazing, right?
Right.
And we have these beautiful glass vases, and we've managed a way to store them, right? But this is a better solution even for us to store our flower vases. The problem that we have as well is that they're not squished, but they're all touching. And, we're working with what we have. We have a limited space as well, but because we put our flowers back into the refrigerator. So just now when you mentioned restaurants, of course, I'm already thinking that. I'm like, it's a great option for restaurants.
Yeah, it's a great option for restaurants. We use it also at the nurseries when we're in season. In the springtime, when we have to get those hanging baskets that are all with those blossoms that are draping.
Yes.
We put them up on the caddies and we sit the basket inside the caddy so we don't have to put it in a bag. Sometimes
Yes.
leave them. So I'm like, leave the caddies in the truck. We're going to go pick up a dozen, hanging baskets. So nothing will get compromised when it's in that bag. So, so there's always these options, but they're made, another key fact is they're made from recycled material. They're made from recycled laundry detergent bottles.
Really? We love that.
Yeah, so that's great news to hear. High density polyethylene, so it's recycled material, and they're stackable and they're so easy to clean because there's nothing that absorbs the mold or anything. The hollow inside, it's stationary here, meaning it's you just spray a hose in here and clean it up.
And what does that weigh? That unit? What does that weigh?
It's maybe a 1.65, less than 2 pounds.
Yeah, less than 2 pounds. And I can hear you holding that material, and it sounds so. That material I know is very familiar to me.
Yeah. It's made. So what else do we use? High density. They use it on garbage cans. They
Sure.
use it on, crates. They use it on laundry baskets. Anything that the garbage cans that we have in front of our house, it's a lot thicker high density polyethylene that they use recycles in, that they use to collect recyclables. That's what they use it on. There's so many different grades of this type of product. But what I'm going to say too is it's durable. It's not going to crack in the wintertime.
I can tell.
And one other key factors about this, when we deliver the centerpieces, whether you're using blankets, because I talk to florists and I say, so what do you use? That's another important fact that I want to say. When you have an idea too, don't be so caught up in it's got to be your way. Be approachable. Ask others in your industry to, their thoughts, to say, hey, what would you think I could do better on this? Be open-minded, because you know what? Some people may be thinking it, but they don't want to hurt your feelings.
Right.
Because it really was for my team, the feedback I would get for them and my developers, my product, when I went and got a 3D, I would say, well, what else could I do? We never have enough time. We never have enough space at the store. And then we came up with, what if we could stack them? That's a great idea. We're not taking up any space.
Yeah.
And then also, I forgot to mention that it's got this feature here that we call bump up. Mm-hmm. It's a little rubber. Would you call it a down? What would you call that?
Yeah. I get it.
Right? So what that does is has friction, so it won't slide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when we ship them, we put them in the case. We put them on a sheet. Because some people like them and some people don't. Like their vehicles may be already equipped where it's not going to slide. So it's a little bit easier for them to shift them if it's not on. But if you want the traction, it's there for you.
No, I like it. And, again, these modifications, the stackables, the little, the stoppers underneath, these are great contributions to come up with your final product. I love this. I love it.
I'm going to tell you, but it takes a team.
It does.
Team, and it takes where you open the platform to say, what else? What else could we do? Is that our best? Is that the best way it could be? I mean, it took Brian's so gracious, he never wants to discourage you,
I know,
but
right?
like I think I could do one prototype and call it a day, like, no, I got this. No,
Yeah.
because just become more in tune to what you're doing and what you want to develop, that want to take the time to say, what else could I make? And somehow you'll know when it's fit. Like, I knew this is it. I'm done. I got it.
Yeah. A lot of this work, I think, is intuitive as well. You have to, as an inventor, as a creative person, you have to really believe in your product and the processes that you're making. But, we talk all the time, if it happened overnight or if it happened too quickly, you wouldn't learn the process. And this is a learning space. I talk to a lot of people, like on different groups of Facebook, or I see a lot of comments and posts. I got this great idea, it'll make $1 million. I'm like, no, it doesn't. You have to understand the process of all this too. I think it's what the charm is of inventing.
Correct. You're absolutely right on that. When I say it's 10 years, because it's 10 years in a thought process.
Yes.
And then, raising my family, doing what I'm doing, and then saying, yeah, to my kids, I'm going to do it. I don't know. It's okay to say you don't know, right?
Okay to say you don't know. Yeah.
It's okay to say you don't know. But that's, when I've studied a lot of psychology and a lot of people, from Tony Robbins to Zig Ziglar, to the best of them, it's really taught me to be more resourceful. When you have a conversation, and it all starts, like my big tag with my kids and my friends is like, you could have anything you want in this world. You really could. It all starts with a conversation. It doesn't mean that first conversation is going to go just the way you wanted. But then you have another one. You just have to be more resourceful for who you choose to have those conversations with.
Yeah.
But they see your vision.
Right? This is why I'm so excited to have you today, because I could I could put myself just on mute and listen to you all day long. You and I have had conversations about this, and it's such a great message to remind us to, seek and you shall find, right? Yeah. You have to keep going. If 6 door closes, count on 9 more opening, man. I mean, it's a big world. It's a big universe out there. And the law of attraction is real, right? But the law of attraction starts with us as well. Picking up the phone, going to Google, asking the right questions, not being so self-consumed with it's your idea, you're just trying to hold it and protect it, or screaming, buy my idea. It doesn't work that way. And it's okay that it doesn't. It's okay that it doesn't. This is how we evolve as inventors and creative people as well. So I love your messaging.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I truly feel too that it's about, and if I could just share, like, inspect what you expect. Don't assume. Like, if you're going to go for something or have a conversation, ask the questions, but, validate, acknowledge them, ask the questions. If you're going to sign up with someone, don't be intimidated that you can't ask those questions. So what's your outcome when you do sign up with someone? To say, well, I this didn't work out, that didn't work out. I always let, whether it was my 3D printer guy, whether it was my product developer, to let them know where I was at and what my end goal was and how much I had to invest in it. Like, some people think, you invent a product that you have unlimited resources. Well, that's not the case, right?
Right.
I'm very, I look at what I do, how I'm going to do it, and articulate who and where I'm going to have those conversations, and who is on the same speed that I am. If you say, I'll get back to you, right? A lot of these companies, it's those gatekeepers. When I was resourcing to find out manufacturing, and I said, okay, do I go overseas to Malaysia or China, or do I do it here in the US? Well, Brian had set up a few phone calls with Malaysia and China, which were great. But what's important to me, to get the best deal as far as dollar cost, or get my product to be made specifically the way I see it to be designed, or how am I going to get the product here? At that time, it was COVID, so freight was like you from a 40-foot container for 4,000 was 18,000.
Right.
And if you do the numbers and how many units and my cost of goods, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Most importantly, what it really led me to say, well, once it hits the port, it's not my responsibility. Now I have to open up the conversations with customs and tariffs and building that relationship. And I'm all about building relationships, but not in another not in another whole sector that I have no control over. Right.
Interesting. Good. These are good points. These are really interesting points to make.
So
Sure.
with that, I could save thousands of dollars, but then I would have to find once that container came here, and this is for people who have a product that you may find it cheaper to manufacture there. But once that container comes here, now you need a trucking company to go get that container. Then you need a warehouse to hold that container or unload the container. And I'm sure it's not going to be one person. And then you have to pay rent for that space. And then when that product has to be shipped out, you have to have someone to go there to monitor your inventory, to cover it. There's a lot more involved.
Yes.
But remember, you got a great price, right?
Right.
But that doesn't carry you. What's
Right.
going to carry you, and I really feel I'm so blessed that I did a little bit more homework, and I found a company here in the States that when I answered the phone, they answered my questions. Mm-hmm. When I said, I'll get back to you, so my big thing is, Sue, when I hear you're saying you're going to get back to me Thursday, Friday, have accountability on that so you're not left hanging. Don't be afraid to say, so I hear you saying you Thursday, Friday, about 2, 3 o'clock, that seemed like a good time for us to connect.
Yeah.
Always acknowledging them, but you have a time frame. You're on a mission.
Yeah. Right? I think we could do a segment on building confidence for inventors. I think that's kind of what you're touching on there, is that when we reach out to these companies and we're so almost, lack of another word, I don't like this word because I don't like to use it, but you feel a little desperate, right? You want somebody so badly to see and validate your product because this could be the yes that you've been looking for. And I think that, really affects us, internally, so we don't have the confidence. And what you're saying is, grab that confidence. You have a great product. You're going to call me on Thursday. Good. I'm looking forward to speaking with you on Thursday. And I think that little bit of assertiveness equals a little bit more confidence that could equal a little more desirable results. I'm guilty of that myself, kind of, okay, thank you, but, call me
right.
thing, right?
Right. When you say, hey, Sam, how'd you make out? You're like, I don't know. They're supposed to get back to me. That's not the way it goes. But I'm finding, because, I was so in my own wheelhouse, meaning the florists, the retail, my customers. When you step out of that, now you have a product. Now you're in a whole different ball game of having these maybe because my like I said, I've studied Sandler sales of psychology. I've studied the Tony Robbins mastery. I've studied a lot because I've always wanted to know more. How could I be better? How come I didn't get that wedding that I sat with? They liked me. Maybe I wasn't asking the right questions, so third-party stories. So I've learned, because when you have your own business, the only person you can rely on is yourself, right? So you have to educate yourself. You have to feed yourself more knowledge on what to do and how to do it. And who do? You go to people you admire in your field, or you want to amplify. I went to a wedding seminar, and I saw this guy, Glenn Madison, get up there, and I'm like, oh my God, I love him. I love everything he says, just the way he says it. I want what he has. and he studies Sandler's, which is a sales psychology. And then when I studied that and I took that back into my wedding, in my consulting, when brides would come in, I knew the proper questions to ask. I knew how to go from hello to yes with certainty. And that's key.
Yeah.
So I could talk forever for that.
Oh, I could listen forever. I'm telling you, I could listen forever because I can feel it. And I think this all relates back to also being an independent inventor. These books that you're mentioning, the seminars, and these people that you're responding to, or that's making you resonate with evolving and growing and learning and keep learning more. Because ultimately, what do you do with your product once you get it in your hand? It's like the dog that catches the car, right? Yeah. There's so many more levels too. Now you have to go and sell your product. And honestly, a lot of inventors don't have the face of their own product, right? They can't be their own salesman, but sometimes they have to be. So you're giving some great advice of thinking outside the box even further, right? To really even learn how to be a good salesman through other channels. So I just think you're remarkable. I think you're inspirational. I really do. And I love that you're honest and you're raw, that you've been working on this product for this amount of time. Because, I have a product in the restaurant industry. I've been 7 years now. But to me, that's a blink of an eye. I'm like, 7, that's it. Let's go. I'm just getting started. Yeah. I've barely shown it to the public, right? So I'm always inspired by you, Chris. And, I'm glad that you're a member of this community. And I know that you and Brian are buddies, and he's got mad love and respect for you. And I'm happy that you're a part of this Inventor Smart community. I think you bring a lot of insight, and I want to hear more from you.
Thank you. Well, I think what Brian has done and what you and the team are doing for the community, for people to just have a space and have a conversation. And I'm there for everyone. You could hit me up, email me, Chris at caddyupsolutions.com. You could call me, you could text me. I'm there to support and inspire whoever I can to say, take a look at what you're doing and how you're doing it. That's what it's all about. It's just all of us as humans pivoting, and we got to pivot every day.
You got to pivot. You constantly have to pivot. I love the pivot. I'm inspired by the pivot. I'm like, what? Let's try it this way. I love it.
It was take a step, right? Yes. So now it's just, pivot, it's the 0.16 screw turns, that's another, way of saying it. But, it goes back to, we only know what we're taught, right? Our parents didn't do things like this because they didn't come from that mindset, right?
Right.
So for us, when we have our children, we teach them to have an open mind and just do your homework, do your due diligence, do better. When you study and work on yourself, when you put in, it will come out.
It really will come out. And there's so much information out there at our fingertips. You can even Google how to be a better salesman, right? Obviously, hundreds of things are going to come up. But the point is, I think if you put that energy in that question and you go seek it, at least you're taking that step, and you don't know what you're going to find or what's going to resonate with you. And I think your message today is reminding all of us of that, is that if you just keep moving and keep seeking and go to the next step, you'll learn more about yourself in the process as well,
Yeah, you have to. I'm part of this program that I've been studying. It's called Unblinded. And one of the key things, it's the only program out there. Like all these other ones are a weekend, 2 weekends, but this one is due diligence. Teaches you your process mastery, your influence mastery, and your self-mastery. And the biggest thing is, that I always think about is this one word, lava. Listen, acknowledge, validate, and ask questions.
I love it. Brilliant.
So, I I think we're going to move that up on your product 7 years. We're going to get it done in 2025.
Ooh, I'm feeling 2025 too. And I have been for quite some time. I'm like 2020, because we're ready. We're just ready. You have to know when you're ready. And listen, I've had a few no's along the way, and I go, all right, thank you. See you next year. That note doesn't bother me whatsoever. Yeah.
You just have to know you're in the industry. You see it, and you know how much. And once you have all those stats, time, money, energy, just bring it to the right associations.
Just got to bring it to the right associations as well. And I honestly believe in my product. And I know the grit of my people that would use this product and how it would simplify what I say it's going to do. Just like your Flower Caddy there, you're an industry kid. This is going to simplify, the problem that we're having here. So can the public buy these units from you, or is this for an industry?
No, so let me just share this. So, like I said, I've been in this process, 10 years, but I initially launched the company about a year ago.
Okay. Yeah.
In that year, I did so I found my company here in the States. And guess what, people? Guess what? It is so great that I don't even have to do anything but sell it. That's it. I don't have to box it. I don't have to tape the box. I don't have to write out the address to it. The only thing, I do have to, but I do it in an email. I send it to the warehouse and they drop ship.
Right.
That's it. It sells online. But besides, so think about all that time, money, and energy, and I'm blessed to say it's made here in the States.
I love that too.
That's even greater. Yeah. I don't have to go get the boxes. I don't have to bring them. Everything gets shipped there. Everything is done. So my other thing is this, that if I could just say, I did my first run this past year, and we sold over 3,000 units, and we got picked up in July, and I presented it. I made the phone calls. I made the connections. I put the whole thing is about building relationships with people you don't know. You don't have to know them. You go on LinkedIn, you make the phone calls. Where could you sell your product? Wow. So I'm now working with them hand in hand. Is it easy? No, it's not. Because you thought, I got this great company. Directing of sales, customer service, and it's corporate. So there's a lot of little loopholes that you have to go through, but with patience and integrity. And I want to be a stand for the industry to see what they don't see, not just pushing my product. I want to give them value of who I am in the industry and how I could help them in the industry. Because guess what? All these people that work for a company, they're not a florist. I just realized that doing this, that they're just in sales. They have no idea the struggles of my industry. Right. So you have to do your homework too. And I'm learning every day. So don't get tired, just be resourceful in your learning.
Yeah, don't get tired, but rest. Someone had said that to me one time, and I was like, "Oh, I like that. Don't get tired, but go ahead and rest." Again, I think you're a great advocate for pushing through, pushing forward. Like I said earlier, not everybody can be the face of their product, but I think you're a great example of somebody that is a face of their product. I know I'm a face to this particular product, but I may have other ones that come along in this life that I may not be of. But for you, particularly in this industry, this is your industry. You know what's working and what's not working. I love this so much.
And also, Sam, even with your industry, right? Because you're with people every day.
Yes.
You have a good day, bad day, ugly day, all that. But you know how to read people.
Yes.
You know how to engage when they're with other people. You could read the room. So that's perhaps what you and I have, and other people that are coming out of maybe not that frame, but they have an idea and they don't really know, that's where in this community they could say, hey, Sam, Chris, how could I do this? What's your advice? Or where could I go? And that's what we're here for. And that's what this is all about. We could support them on that to see what they don't see.
You are absolutely correct. We meet people that we invite to come on the National Inventor Club meeting, and they'll tell me, "Oh, I'm camera shy. I just want to stay in the background." And sometimes I can forget because I'm such an outspoken person, right? But some people aren't. So I love that you're mentioning that within this community, it's okay to be in the background. It doesn't invalidate your ideas at all, right?
Ask for help.
Ask for help. And what we're circling back around to, use your resources, ask for help, put yourself out there a little bit, ask those questions, reach out. I mean, I think building this app, Brian, is just genius for this. It's the only app of its kind that's just centered around these independent inventors. And it's really, I'm watching this community grow and grow. You and I met for the first time last year at our tour in Virginia, the United States Patent and Trademark Office. We had a great time with your son as well. What an incredible experience. So here we are continuously growing for both of us. So I'm just really happy that you are on episode 11 and you're a spotlight. You're so much more than our spotlight. So I think we're going to do some more time together. Maybe you and I could go live in the app and just open it up to some questions and give some of our other members just some platform areas where they can talk to you specifically. I think it would be great. You up for that?
I totally am up for that. It's kind of like this, not just if I could, it's like being the teacher or being the guide to say, if I could save you steps, right? Why save you time, money, and energy in the things that I've already done? And this is what this app is all about. I don't have all the answers, but I certainly could help you discover your answers.
Yes.
And that's what this is all about. And I thank you for giving me this opportunity, for sharing and also caring, about what we do and how we do it.
What we do and how we do it. And I'm just happy to see you because I always just get such a buzz every time you're around. So I've enjoyed connecting with you this last year.
You have to definitely come down to Long Island.
Well, Brian keeps saying the same thing. I think we're going to do maybe a mixer in New York and just, maybe in the spring. And I'm going to head over to New York for sure.
Look forward to that.
All right. Good. So our friends out there that are listening, if you've come across this podcast, either on LinkedIn or YouTube or any of our channels, maybe somebody shared it with you and you're interested in the Inventor Smart Community, of course, you can go to the Apple Store, Google Play, and just find us and become a member and see what we're all about. We're here to welcome you and to use our app as a resource. There's so many resource tabs that Brian has put and Andy within this app. It's unbelievable how much stuff is at our fingertips. Even if you want to stay behind the scenes, use the app to find out all the questions. It's just, like you said, people that have done it before, let's save you a couple of steps. One example that I like to use, there's a new sponsor on our platform. They're PickFu. They haven't been around forever. This is something that you and I didn't have 10 years ago. They're helping people validate their product by using this survey of their clientele that they already have taken these surveys. And you can validate your logo, your product, your name within seconds. I mean, these are great little things that you didn't know this was available. Go to the app and this is available, these companies out here. And again, this is just a small example of what the app, I think, is bringing to independent inventors for resources, time, and steps, everything that we've kind of talked about today.
That whole app is like a library.
It's a library. Thank you.
It is worth value. Between the membership is nothing compared to the value that you get.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not only the people, but the resources and the conversation. Everybody's so authentic. Everybody's really just says it. I mean, I think it's great.
Me too. I love this. All right, Chris.
Your time, Sam.
Me too, girl. I'm wrapping it up with you. I love it. I'm so happy to see you. I could just stay with you all day, but I'm gonna text you later. We're just gonna plan our segment.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. All right. It was great to see you.
You too. Stay well. Take care.